Welcome, everyone. Sit back and relax while we go on this wild and crazy ride. I am Deputy Gia Gray, and these are my real life experiences as a female correctional officer. On this day, I'm working in the Maximum Security Division. This is where they house the worst of the charged inmates. Today, my post is on the only female wing in maximum security. We see some wild things on this wing. It's normally a good shift with less drama when I work with this work crew, Corporal Berry and Deputy Sapp. Corporal Berry, she is also from my old neighborhood in Miami. We have a great workflow. We've worked with one another for so long, we can look at each other and with the slightest movement let the other know what direction to go or what move the other will do without speaking. Our lives depended on one another. On this wing, we're at full capacity. That is 124 inmates. 4 of the pods are general population that have at least 24 inmates in each pod. And 2 of the pods are single cell housing, which houses 8 inmates on the top tier and 8 inmates on the bottom tier. Let's give you a little backstory of how this works. If an inmate is in single cell housing, they are on some kind of status. The status can be a medical status like close observation. That usually has a check every 15 minutes. Protective custody, which isn't a medical status, it just means that the inmate cannot be in direct contact with another inmate. Or they are serving time from a disciplinary report, a DR, which means they have been formally written up and then formally charged by a committee made up by staff who will decide if there has been a violation and if there will be any confinement time given for violations of the inmate handbook. Ooh, that was a lot to say. Well, to enforce the DRs, the inmate loses all privileges. That means no mail, unless religious, no commissary. That means extra food that is ordered by family, friends, or that inmate. Of course, just like the outside world, food can get you hurt real bad. So just imagine telling someone that they are losing that privilege, along with magazines, books, and personal pictures and letters. They are all placed in that inmate's property until the disciplinary time is served. The inmate serving the DR is only allowed religious materials, hygiene products, clean bed linen, and those 3 meals a day. If you are serving a DR, you are not privileged to make outside phone calls, only to their attorneys. They are only allowed out of their cell for an hour of recreation and 30 minutes out of your cell to shower, shave, and converse with other inmates within the pod. Now that we have the layout down, there are also other statuses within the pod, such as protective custody or some type of medical status observation. All inmates are visually and physically observed every 15 minutes with a fob that has 4 contact hubs within the pods. There is no way to fake those checks, let me tell you. Similar to this one. So, back to the story. This one is a general population story. Wild things can occur in the confinement cells, but sweetheart, let me tell you, it goes down in GP. That's why all of the movies the newly sentenced inmates always turn and say, "I'm not going to make it in general population," and then they begin to cry. There is a big reason for this. I will say to anyone that comes in fresh, that has no prior incarcerations, I give them this advice. You have no friends here. Even if you think you know them, you don't. Keep your eyes open and your mouth closed. Do not accept anything from anyone of value. Not gonna lie, my heart sinks a little as they look at me with those glaring doe-like eyes that are obviously fighting back the tears before they're escorted into their assigned pod. I was raised in the era, don't start no ish and it won't be no ish. That meant you don't go messing with people starting trouble. But if trouble comes for you, not only are you required to lay that trouble down, but lay it down in a way that it doesn't want to see or hear from you ever again. Well, this must have been the same background that Amy Scruggs was raised in. Let me tell you, Amy was one of the quietest, mild-mannered, kept to herself, just read books, colored in her coloring books, had good hygiene, which is always a plus. She was just a real quiet inmate. We never had any problems with her. There are at least 24 different personalities in close quarters. It's a given that not everyone is always going to get along, and that's a given. But when you go looking for trouble, you are going to eventually find what you're seeking. Hide and go seek and find out. Inmate Maria Spinelli went for bad in this unit. Maria has been coming in and out of jail for years. She has 3 kids that her mom helps her to raise, especially when she goes to jail. Maria always tells her kids she's either away on vacation or in college when she goes to jail. Maria and a whole lot of other inmates nationwide are going to have children growing up hating vacations and college. Maria has a tough girl attitude. Now you can tell she's been around a block or two. Inmate Maria feels that she runs her unit. She has her girl crew and feels invincible, I'm sure. Today appears to be a regular day. The thing about jail is that it can change at the drop of a dime. Corporal Barry and I were working in the front of the wing when we heard a loud commotion coming from the end of the wing out of pod 3. Corporal Barry rolls me out of the lockdown pod after completing the well-being checks in that pod. We run down to where we hear the noises coming from. From the outside of the unit, we take a quick survey from the windows. From this viewpoint, we can see the majority of the pod, who's where and what may be happening before we enter. We see that there's a huge crowd of inmates in the hall of the upper tier. It's amazing how people can move so quickly out of the tight spaces for a fight scene. Yes, this was a major fight scene. We yell for the pod to lock down from the gate door. I radio for the control room person to cut off the TV and the phones. Then I radio inmate fight on Echo Pod 3. This is a big dog code. This code brings everyone to the scene, not just for the staff reinforcement, but to protect all those involved and the innocent bystanders. It can go real bad, real quick with the inmate fight. Now, with the inmate fight, the floor staff can't just go rushing in without having enough staff present. We could be rushing into an ambush or some type of pre-planned situation. Just a few moments have passed and now we have 3 additional staff members so that we can go in and defuse this problem. Once we are in, the rest of the inmates have locked down into cells, but there's a whole lot of movement going on. Oh shoot, it's inmate Scruggs. She is dragging and banging on inmate Spinelli by what used to be her brunette hair. She has lots of wet red highlights going on with all of this facial attention inmate Scrubs has just given her. I give inmate Scrubs a direct order to step away from inmate Spinelli. Inmate Scrubs isn't hearing it right now. She begins to start crying and yelling, "I can't take it anymore. This biatch keeps effing with me." Both Corporal Barry and I are closely approaching, but inmate Scrubs is holding a freshly sharpened pencil that is dripping in red liquid that has not only covered the entire pencil, but also inmate Scrubs' hand. Inmate Spinelli is still on the floor screaming out in pain. Her face is drenched in red liquid. She is holding her left eye and the red stuff is seeping through her hands. I call on the radio for medical to respond to the unit. Inmate Scrubs is wildly flailing her arms with that pencil and attempting to smack inmate Spinelli into the wall behind them. I gave Corporal Barry the nod. She pulled her electronic control weapon, her taser. When the red beam illuminated her chest, she froze. I went into a side tackle takedown, forcing her into releasing inmate Spinelli. I rolled inmate Scrubs fully on her tummy so I could apply handcuffs. Once cuffed, I assisted her to her knees, then to her feet. First one up, then the other up. Medical staff was on the scene, administering help along with other staff securing the scene. While escorting inmate Scrubs to the clinic for medical and psychiatric evaluation, I asked, "Amy, what set you off to do that to Maria?" Inmate Scrubs says, "Deputy Gray, she just kept bothering me and taking my food, my things that were important to me. I don't bother anyone. I stay to myself." Apparently, inmate Spinelli waited until inmate Scrubs had a new commissary order to help herself to every and anything she wanted out of inmate Scrubs' bin, and she lost it on her. I escorted inmate Scrubs to pre-confinement for disciplinary segregation until she received her formal disciplinary report. Meanwhile, I see inmate Spinelli nearly 2 months after at a sick hall visit, and she has complete loss of vision in her left eye, and it looks gray and filmy like that of a fish. Oh my goodness, I am in shock and trying to contain my facial feelings. I'm not sure if I'm successful. How are you doing, Spinelli? I'm the best I can be, considering I've only got one good eye now. Well, Spinelli, you know and I know that it could have been far worse than it was. So be thankful that you are okay. Now you know you can't go around mistreating people and think that it's going to be all blessings to come back on you. If you don't 1000% know what someone's mindset is, you better leave them alone. Everyone has the potential to snap, especially under these stressful circumstances. You are playing with fire at this point. What I know is a bully's life will be forever changed. And what is crazy is that Maria was able to look at her 3 kids with 2 good eyes before going to jail. And now she's going to be looking at them like a 90s rapper. Now, how do you go home and tell your family that your new trout eye is courtesy of your own doing? Was that honey bun so important that you were willing to give up your 2020? Now you're just 20? My saying is, you better know where someone's mindset is before you go praying or playing on people. Even the mildest natured person can be pushed beyond their limits, and then all you see is the snap, crack, and the pop of it all. Bad choices make bad consequences. Moral of the story: when you press someone's buttons, exploit their weaknesses, and nudge them past the breaking point for your own benefit, you must be prepared for the result. Unbreakable Me resources coming soon.